The rain was falling gently that evening, washing the dust off the old streets of her town and maybe, just maybe, trying to wash away the pain in her heart. She stood there, under the flickering yellow light of the street lamp, holding an umbrella she didn't need, waiting for someone who had promised to come back. But promises are like raindrops. They fall, they shine for a moment, and then they disappear. She was only 23, yet her eyes carried the weight of a lifetime. Haya wasn't waiting for just a man. She was waiting for a memory, a voice that once whispered, "I'll come back for you." The world around her moved on. People changed, shops closed and reopened. But she stood in the same place every year when the monsoon arrived, as if time had forgotten to take her along. Haya and Ahmed had grown up together in that same small town, two souls who found comfort in each other's laughter. Two dreamers chasing the same horizon. They used to sit on the old wooden bridge by the river, feet dangling over the water, making silent wishes whenever the wind carried the smell of rain. Ahmed would say, "One day I'll make something of myself, Haya. And when I do, I'll come back. I'll ask for your hand." She used to laugh, but deep down she believed him. But life, Johnny, has its own cruel rhythm. Ahmed's father fell sick, and his family slipped deeper into poverty. With no choice left, Ahmed took a job abroad, far away, in a country Haya couldn't even find on a map. The night before he left, they met under that same street lamp where she now waited. It was raining, just like tonight. He had no umbrella that night, only a thin jacket and trembling hands. He looked at her with eyes full of both hope and fear. "Just 1 year, Haya," he said. "Give me 1 year. I'll come back with enough to build our life. Wait for me, okay?" She smiled through her tears, trying to be strong. "I'll wait, even if it rains forever." That was the last night she saw him. When he left, she spent the first few months writing letters, long, beautiful letters filled with love and stories of her days. She never got a reply. Still, she told herself he must be busy, that his silence was temporary, that love would find its way back. Every time it rained, she'd step out, close her eyes, and whisper to the sky, "He'll come back today." People in town began to notice the girl who stood by the street lamp whenever the rain came. Some smiled sadly, others whispered cruelly behind her back. But Haya didn't care. Love had made her deaf to the world. One evening, her mother gently said, "He's not coming back. Haya, you have to move on." But Haya only looked out the window and whispered, "You'll see, Amy. He will." The rain became her calendar. Each drop reminded her of a promise that was fading like ink in water. Yet she kept waiting, believing that maybe Ahmed was fighting his way back to her through miles and storms and silence. And that's how her story began, not with a meeting, but with a waiting. Days turned into months. Months slipped into years. But Haya's wait never ended. Every evening she stood by that same street lamp, the one that once saw their goodbye. The town changed, faces changed, but her hope stayed the same. The postman stopped at her gate many times, but never with his letter. Still, she smiled and said, "Maybe tomorrow." People whispered, "She's lost her mind." But Haya only whispered back, "No, I'm just keeping a promise." Rain became her calendar. Strut reminded her he was somewhere out there, fighting to return. And so year after year, she waited. Not for a man, but for a promise. It was another rainy evening, the same street lamp, the same silence. Haya stood there, lost in her thoughts, when the postman stopped by her gate holding an old wrinkled envelope. "For you," he said softly. Her hands trembled. Now no one had written to her in years. She opened it slowly, her heart pounding. Inside was a single page. The ink faded, the handwriting familiar. But it wasn't Ahmed's name at the bottom. It was signed by someone else, a man she'd never met. He wrote, "I knew Ahmed. We worked together. He spoke of you every day. He wanted to come back. But fate was cruel. He gave me this letter to send if he couldn't return." The rain blurred her vision as she read. Inside the envelope was a small pressed flower, the same kind he once gave her under that street lamp years ago. Her heart broke, yet somewhere deep inside she felt peace. Because after all the silence, she finally knew. He never forgot her. That night, Haya couldn't sleep. She kept the letter beside her pillow and the dried flower on her heart. Every word in that letter echoed in her mind. He did remember her. He did try to return, but life had stolen their ending. In the morning, she walked to the street lamp again. The rain had stopped, but the ground was still wet, like the earth had cried with her. She knelt down and placed the flower near the lamp's base, whispering, "You came back," even if it was just in words. From that day on, she stopped looking down the road. Instead, she looked at the sky whenever it rained, as if he lived somewhere behind the clouds. Watching her wait, smiling through the storm. Years later, people still saw her by that lamp, not waiting anymore, just remembering. Because sometimes love doesn't end when someone leaves, it only changes shape. It was another cloudy afternoon. The air smelled of rain again, and Haya was sitting quietly beneath the old street lamp, watching the drops gather on her hands. A little boy, no older than 10, walked by holding a broken umbrella. He stopped when he saw her. "Why are you sitting here, Auntie?" he asked innocently. She smiled softly. "I'm waiting for someone." The boy tilted his head. "Did he go far?" Haya nodded. "Very far." He thought for a moment, then said, "My father says people who go far still hear us if we talk to them kindly." Her eyes glistened. "Then what should I say?" "Say what's in your heart," the boy replied, "because hearts don't need letters." He ran off before she could answer, but his words stayed. That night, Haya lit a candle by her window and whispered to the sky, "I waited, Ahmed, and I will keep waiting, not for you to return, but so your memory never feels alone." The rain started again, and for the first time in years, she smiled while it fell. The clouds were heavier than ever that year. The town was older, quieter, and so was Haya. Her hair had turned silver, her hands trembled, but her eyes still carried the same light. It's the light of waiting. The rain returned after a long summer. People ran for shelter, but Haya walked slowly to her street lamp, her umbrella swaying, her steps weak but steady. She looked up at the sky and whispered, "Another monsoon, Ahmed. You didn't forget me, did you?" The rain fell harder. She closed her eyes and let it soak her completely, like every drop was a memory, every sound a heartbeat she once knew. A shopkeeper nearby watched her and said softly, "She's been coming here for 40 years. Every time it rains, she smiles like it's her first love." But that day was different. Haya stayed longer than usual. She sat beneath the lamp, her shawl drenched, the letter still tucked inside her pocket, the one she had read 1,000 times. The rain didn't stop, and neither did she, because that night felt like the one she had waited for all her life. The storm grew wild that night. Thunder rolled over the hills, and the rain fell like it had something to say. Haya sat beneath the street lamp, eyes closed, her lips moving softly as if she were talking to someone only she could see. Then, through the sound of the storm, she heard a whisper, soft, familiar. Her heart froze. Haya. Her eyes opened. Across the mist, a shadow stood, a man drenched in rain. Smiling the way she remembered. It couldn't be real. But he was there, his voice trembling like the wind. You waited. All this time, tears mixed with the rain on her face. Oh, I told you, she whispered. Even if it rained forever. The shadow stepped closer. For a moment, it felt like the years vanished, like the world was whole again. He smiled once more. And then the wind blew, and he was gone. Only silence remained, and the soft whisper of rain saying everything words never could. The next morning, the rain had stopped. The streets were quiet, washed clean, like the town had cried enough for one night. The shopkeeper across the road opened his door and looked toward the street lamp. Haya was still there, sitting peacefully, her shawl wrapped around her, her face calm, as if she was finally at rest. The letter lay beside her, the ink faded. The flower pressed inside it, still there, still whole.
Oh.
Maybe it was when she saw him. Maybe it was when the rain whispered his name one last time. It buried her under the old tree by the river, the same place she and Ahmed once made their wishes. The townspeople lit candles that night, and for the first time, the street lamp glowed brighter than ever before. Years passed. Children grew up hearing her story. Whenever it rained, they'd point to the lamp and say, "That's where the lady waited for her love." And on certain nights, when the clouds gather and the wind carries the scent of wet earth, people swear they see her standing beneath that lamp, smiling softly as if love never really left, because maybe it never did. Watch some promises, Johnny. Don't need to be kept in this world. They live forever in the rain, in the silence, and in the hearts that still believe. And beneath that lonely street lamp, the light still burns for her, for him, for love that never died.